Hello everyone, it is Briximus Prime, back for another action figure review, and today we're going to be reviewing the McFarlaneToys Warhammer 40k UltraMarine Reiver and the BloodMarine Lieutenant Primaris Lieutenant. And yeah, this is my first ever Warhammer 40k video. I'm kind of new to the franchise. The only game I've played as of right now is the Space Marine. But I do know a lot of the lore. I do know some of the lore behind some of the other games and some of the storyline and everything. But anyway, getting into the actual toy review. Both of the Space Marines feature nice big windows showcasing the figures within. They both say Warhammer 40k right there. This one has the Blood Marine has the gold label because it is a Walmart exclusive gold label figure. Here on the side of the packaging, it's got some nice product shots of the figures themselves, and then on the back of the packaging, you got some obligatory product shots of the Reaver, and then the BloodAngel's Blood Marine with some of the other figures advertised there, and then it just has this cool bit of artwork that just goes along this side right here. So that's basically it for the packaging. And here is taking a look at the accessories with both of the figures. Both of the figures come with stands right here with a little peg to stand them up, and it has the Warhammer 40k logo right there. Very nice. Very appreciated. Always have some standing support for different poses. And then the Blood Marine, or the Blood Angel, comes with a big sword. I love how this sword came out. I like the metallic paint going on there for the blade, as well as the metallic gold for the hilt right there, and I like the feathered wing right there, and the nice black handle. And again, made of a nice stiff plastic, very nice. Might want to be careful with that tip right there. Might be quite dangerous. The Blood Angel also comes with what I believe is called an iron halo. Correct me if I'm wrong, but basically this attaches on, in the games, this attaches onto you, and it basically makes you somewhat more invincible than you already were before. Though I wish it maybe had some of the paint from the sword on it, but it looks fine on its own. The Blood Angel Lieutenant also comes with this plasma pistol, which is a very useful weapon from the game, but it's not necessarily my favorite. But they depicted it very well here in, again, nice, durable, hard plastic. And again, just nice little bits of paint and accents of black and blue all over it, and I like how it came out. And then the Reiver comes with this bolter carbine right here with two handlebars, and it's got some black accents on it. And overall, I like the way how this one came out. It's got a nice big chunky magazine, and again, made out of really stiff, hard plastic. And yeah, very nice looking gun right here. Both of these guys' backpacks came out as separate pieces in the packaging, but the assembly to attach them on is pretty straightforward. But as for their sword and guns, they can't really store them anywhere. But the iron halo here just matched the groove with the area right there, and the iron halo can attach onto this little tab right there on top of the backpack. So that is basically it for the accessories. And even though the Space Marines game is the only one that I've actually played, neither of these particular characters actually show up in the game, but the type of Marine that they are does. So the Ultramarines that this guy is from do appear in the game, but not specifically the Reiver. And the Blood Angels do show up in the game, but not this particular lieutenant. So, again, feel free to educate me in the comments. And, but yeah, they both look really good. Let's start with the Reiver, and then we'll go to the Blood Angel. And here's taking a look at the Reiver. The Reiver here has a less traditional Space Marine helmet. He's now a spooky, scary skeleton. And, yeah, the skull face actually looks really good. I like the red eyes, the white, and the sculpting came out very well. I like those bits of metallic gunmetal gray. And overall, I do like the intimidating look of the Reiver. And the shoulder pads here look really nice. I like the big Omega Ultramarine logo right there, and the bits and accents of gold. I like the skull molded there on the chest with the daggers. And I don't know what the 3 means here on his arm, but I know that's the Roman numeral for 3. And again, he's got some great molding and sculpting throughout his whole design. I like the bits of black and like all this like panel lining and mechanical detail going all throughout. The hands came out looking pretty well, though he doesn't really grip his weapon all that well. But yeah, this guy's design is a lot more streamlined compared to some of the more traditional Space Marines. But I like the way how this guy looks. I mean, it doesn't mean that he's a bad design, he just looks different. And he's also covered in, like, grenades and these pouches and all. It makes him look a lot more tactical than some of the other Marines that show up in the Warhammer franchise. The painting is just a little bit lacking, but the plastic quality is top-notch. McFarlane Toys does a great job at having these big, hefty figures, and yet their prices are so fair with how much plastic and just so much engineering you're getting with these guys. He's got a ball joint at the base of the neck, which allows for some swiveling and some looking up and down. Shoulders can move out that far. Double jointed elbows. The wrists can rotate, and then if you rotate the peg, it can hinge in and out, and then if you rotate it, it can hinge up and down. And then he's got a ball joint here and a ball joint here, which allows for a ab crunch, arching back, diaphragm pivot, waist swiveling. Hips can move forward, they can move back, they can move outward. He's got a thigh swivel, double jointed knees, a bit of a swivel right here at the calf. The ankles can move up, they can move down, and a toe bend and a very tight ankle pivot. And these flaps right here on the backpack have hinge joints. So very good articulation here on the Reiver, and because of his more streamlined design, it makes him more posable than some of his more bulkier brothers. Taking a look at the BloodAngel Lieutenant here, I love those piercing green eyes. The green eyes are the only bits of green on the figure, and I also appreciate that little drop of red. Get it? Drop. And then these bits of silver on the side of the helmet. I love this helmet design over the Reivers, but this is one of the more traditional helmet designs. Also, I didn't notice this till a little bit later, but he also has these like Julius Caesar kind of Greek-looking like head crest right here on the top. I didn't notice that till afterwards. And there goes the iron halo. This does not attach on all that well. But, yeah, I think this guy has, over the Reiver, all of the mechanical detailing and all of the different, like, molded-in details and, like, the extra bits of armor and everything. And again, I feel like this guy's gold label on the figure really shows with the amount of paint that's on him. And again, his design is a little bit more traditional, more rounded and bulky compared to the Reiver. He's more traditional to his other brothers. And again, he's got these drops of red throughout the figure, to represent the, blood angels. And again, the silver and molding, the gold and molding really looks very nicely done on the figure. The backpack is a traditional backpack, nothing much to say here. And again, the mechanical detailing and panel lining is nicely and precisely detailed. And this guy has a very nice iron grip while holding his sword, and I actually prefer the sword over the gun as an accessory. I find it more fun to pose these guys around with melee weapons more than I do with the guns. But that's probably due to the fact that these guys actually hold the sword really well, where the guns just keep falling out of their hands. As for the articulation on this guy, the posability all across the upper body is exactly the same as the Reiver, right down to the double jointed elbows and the diaphragm, but the legs instead have a bit of a hindered forward and backward. The thigh is a little bit more hindered. The knees do bend just about the same, but then the ankles don't really move up or down all that much and can bear basically a non-existent pivot. So he's a little bit more limited in the legs compared to the Reiver, but everything in the upper body is basically the exact same. Even though, like I mentioned before, since these guys are more bulky, the posability is that much more limited, but I still prefer the way how this guy looks over the Reiver, but I love how much posable the Reiver is. Here's my two Warhammer Space Marines next to a pair of other Space Marines that I've reviewed from this same company, the Phobos Doomslayer and Doomicorn from the Doom video game. And then here they are with the last McFarlane Toys figure I reviewed, the DC Multiverse, the Batman. And that is basically it for the McFarlane Toys UltraMarines Reiver and the BloodAngel's Primaris Lieutenant. And yeah, I think this is a very nice pair of figures. The one thing I always say about McFarlane Toys is how well they're just so worth the money. They do so well at keeping their figures at fair prices, especially with, all this inflation and crap going on nowadays. Like, these guys are worth the money. The Reiver has some very nice bits of articulation, especially for him being a more streamlined figure, and the skull face is just a nice little cherry on top of all of it. But I still prefer the BloodAngel a little bit more, just because I'm a little more biased toward that traditional design. But I wish that, just like the Reiver, he had just a little bit more posability, just to make him look that little bit more dynamic. But I've still had a lot of fun posing him, especially with that big sword. And if I had to give each individual one a rating, the gold label figure I'm going to give a solid 9 out of 10, and the Reiver I'm going to give a solid 9 out of 10. They just have their rankings for different reasons. But I still think they are great figures, and I'm sure that if you guys are a little bit disappointed with the way these guys are painted up, I'm sure you can go in and custom paint them yourselves. Trust me, I've seen some pretty talented people. And yeah, that is basically it for this review, so thank you all for watching. This has been Briximus Prime. Let me know down below if you guys liked this review. Let me know if you want to see some more Warhammer reviews in the future. And yeah, thank you all for watching. This has been Briximus Prime.
Catch you guys next time, brothers!